All right, good morning, everyone. Today's Friday, January 28th. This is our second voting session. We're going to start off with Senate Bill 309, which is a withdrawal. So the motion is for an unfavorable withdrawn.
Second.
It's been seconded. Is everyone okay with that? Excellent. All right, next we'll move on to Senate Bill 26. Jamie.
This bill clarifies language enacted under Chapter 680 of 2021 last session regarding automatic expungements of records pertaining to criminal charges in cases meeting specified criteria.
Everyone understand? It's a technical fix. All right, so discussion, everyone's good? Motion's for favorable?
Second.
It's been seconded. Everyone's good? All right, awesome. Senate Bill 31, Senator Sidnor has requested a hold, so we'll hold that until the next voting session. We'll now move on to Senate Bill 76. Josh.
So this bill authorizes a person to operate a golf cart or low-speed vehicle equipped with approved lighting on Cobb Island in Charles County between dusk and dawn on a highway on which the speed limit is not more than 30 miles an hour. The cart would have to keep as far to the right as possible, and the driver would need a valid driver's license.
Everyone's good? Motion's for favorable. It's been seconded. Everyone's good? All right, awesome. We'll now move on to Senate Bill 80. Josh.
Senate Bill 80 is a very similar bill. It applies to Upper and Middle Hoopers Island and Taylor's Island in Dorchester County. The only real difference is that the bill would apply only to county roads, and that the County Council of Dorchester County would be responsible for designating the specific roads on which the authorization would apply.
Everyone understands? Motion's for favorable. It's been seconded. Everyone's okay? Excellent. Passes unanimously. All right, Senate Bill 146. Josh.
So this bill, as drafted, prohibits stopping, standing, or parking a vehicle in a designated plug-in electric drive vehicle charging space unless that vehicle is a plug-in electric drive vehicle. The bill would establish requirements for signage and pavement markings. As drafted, the penalty for violating the bill would be equal to the penalty for illegally parking in a handicap space in that jurisdiction. The bill authorizes, as drafted, it authorizes a parking facility privately owned or owned by local government to tow vehicles in violation. So there is an amendment in your packet, which is number 243620/1. So this would make a number of changes that would bring the bill into the same posture that it was last year when it passed this committee. That was House Bill 480. It ended up dying on the Senate floor on sine die. It would change the requirement in the bill a little bit so that you would need to be in an electric vehicle that is plugged into the charging station. So it would still be a violation if you had an electric vehicle and you simply weren't plugged in at the time. It would simplify some of the signage requirement, remove the requirement that a space be marked with pavement markings. It would remove the authorization to tow violators, and it would standardize the penalty at a $100 civil penalty. And the sponsor also wanted to add some co-sponsors, Senators Benson, Feldman, Lamb, and Senator Watson as well.
At first, unless there's further discussion or on the amendment. So can we adopt the?
Could I add myself?
Shelley, Senator Hedelman and Senator West would like to be added onto the bill. And Senator Lee. All right, so can we go ahead and move forward and adopt the amendment? Senator, okay with that? Awesome. All right, now the bill's before you as amended. Discussion. Senator Kessley.
Thank you. Maybe just explanation on looking at the amendment we just passed, or the reprint, I'm sorry, on the amendment as I'm looking at page 3, 914. A plug-in electric vehicle charging spaces shall be counted as part of the overall number of parking spaces in a parking lot for the purpose of complying with any zoning or parking laws intended to meet requirements for commercial and industrial uses under the American with Disabilities Act. I guess a question for council, that's not saying that a plug-in electric, if I have to have 2 handicap spaces at my business, that I could just have 2 electric charging vehicle spaces and no handicap? That's not what that's saying, is it?
No, it's saying that, so the federal requirements are basically for every certain amount of parking spaces, you have to have a certain amount of handicap spaces. So it's saying that the electric drive vehicle parking spaces count for that number.
Okay, so if you have 10 electric, the same percentage of those has to be for handicapped.
So it means if you have, 50 non-charging spaces and 10 charging spaces, for the purposes of the Americans with Disabilities
You
Act
got
requirements,
60.
you have 60 total spaces.
Gotcha. Okay, and I'll just note that, so it's interesting with the years of electric charging bills coming through, it's always been, the bill has addressed issues between non-electric and electric. This is really the first one that's addressed issues electric to electric, right? The saying, you're taking up my parking space, my charging station, and you're not charging, right? So I guess a milestone. Thank you.
It is funny now, though, we were just talking about this, like, you've got electric, you've got expected mother, you've got veteran, you've got curbside pickup now, like, there's so many designated spaces. Yeah.
Actually, go around the parking lot, Home Depot, looking for
yeah.
your category.
New family,
Which
like,
one? Are you a
Montgomery Mall has all
professional, a
that.
veteran,
Yeah,
an expectant mother, a handicap? Yeah.
Purple Heart, yeah.
We got a parking space
yeah.
just for you somewhere here, yeah.
All right. Any further discussion? Do you want a roll call on this, or is everyone okay? All right. Is everyone okay? All right, passes unanimously, as amended, with amendment. Okay. Senate Bill 147.
As drafted, this bill expands the application of the move-over requirement under Maryland law to apply to a disabled vehicle on a highway that is displaying hazard warning lights, road flares, or other caution signals. So a driver approaching such a vehicle would have to either move over if practical or otherwise slow down. I believe the sponsor has a slight amendment he wants to offer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I would just move to strike the word disabled so that anyone with their flashers on the side of the road would have the opportunity to benefit from this law.
A motion has been seconded. Is everyone okay with that? You remember the discussions we were talking about that, so it's good. All right. All right, so the amendment has been adopted. Now the bill's before you as amended. Questions, discussion? All right, the motion's for favorable. With amendment. Is everyone okay? Excellent. All right, passes unanimously. All right, Senate Bill 176, 176. Is that Josh?
So this bill, which was considered at Tuesday's voting session, requires a person transporting a child younger than 2 in a motor vehicle to secure the child in a rear-facing child safety seat, which complies with all federal regulations until the child reaches a weight or height limit specified by the manufacturer. So if you recall, at Tuesday's voting session, the committee adopted an amendment which would make a first-time violation, which involves securing a child in a forward seat when they should be in a rear-facing seat. That would be a warning for a first-time violation. So there was some discussion at the voting session about the overlap between this bill and the applicable federal regulations. So if you look in your packet, you'll see an excerpt from the federal regulations, which is what the federal law requires the manufacturers to include with the seats. And you'll see that in terms of the forward-facing versus rear-facing distinction, the federal law is really focused on the weight of the child rather than the age of the child. And also in your packet is an excerpt from NHTSA's informal guidance, which you can see when it comes to the age of the child, it's kind of more general and not as prescriptive as the bill is. So that's really just what the difference between the federal regulations and the bill's requirements are, is that the bill is just a little bit more prescriptive in terms of the exact age at which the transition would have to occur.
So is everyone good? Further discussion? All right, so there are no amendments on this. All right, so motions for favorable.
Oh, wait, hold on, let me just double check. we did adopt an amendment at the last voting session.
Yeah.
So it would
With
be-
amendment. We
So
adopted
favor-
that though, right?
Yeah, we adopted it, so it would be favorable, the motion's favorable with amendment.
Amendment. Everyone's good? Excellent. So the bill passes unanimously as amended, with amendment. Okay. Senate Bill 203.
This bill makes changes to custody and guardianship review hearings for children in need of assistance. First, the bill repeals an exception for a review hearing every 12 months if the child is continued in an out-of-placement home with a caregiver. Therefore, it would need to be held every 6 months. Second, the bill requires the court at a review hearing to determine the appropriateness of and the extent of compliance with the case plan for the child. And 3, when the permanency plan is another planned permanent living arrangement, the bill requires the review hearing to include certain factors. Previously, the judiciary had opposed this bill. In your amendment packet, there's an updated letter from the judiciary in support of the bill. They spoke with the DHS and their concerns were addressed.
How much funding was in the balance? Funding for some federal funding requirements?
Oh, it was potential that they could lose funding.
How much? That's what I'm saying.
I don't believe the fiscal notes stated how much funding could be lost.
All right.
They always threaten that.
I know.
Does it ever happen?
So there are no amendments to the bill, right?
No.
Discussion? All right, motions for a favorable. It's been seconded. Bill passes unanimously. All right. We'll now move on to the last bill of the day, Senate Bill 216.
It's Josh.
This departmental bill transferred specified duties relating to the approval of breath and blood tests to determine alcohol concentration for DUIs from the state toxicologist and the officer of the chief medical examiner to the Department of State Police Forensic Sciences Division, and makes conforming changes. So just for reference, the state police would have to hire a new position to implement this bill, and there is about $91,000 in the governor's budget bill specifically for that hire.
Yep. All right, motions for a favorable. It's been seconded. Everyone's good. Bill passes unanimously. All right, excellent. We are done. This is the quickest JPR voting session in history. I'm sorry?
We should do floor leaders.
Yeah. Got through. All right, that's it. Thanks.